For more on the situation in Thailand, I spoke with Gregory Poling. He's a fellow with the Southeast Asia Studies and the Pacific Partners Initiative at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. I began by asking, what are the possible outcomes of this election?
Yeah, so what we'd like to see is, a normal, relatively peaceful election tomorrow, which will not fill enough seats to fill the parliament. But the next step would then be to hold by-elections to try to fill those seats. That's looking increasingly unlikely. You have vows by all of the protest movements that they're going to get out there. They're going to block people from entering polling places. You're going to see scuffles, violence. It's really a question of how bad it gets, not if it gets bad. In that case, the biggest fear is that the military steps in, decides that the country has become ungovernable. I don't think that'll happen, but the military may decide that they need to swing their support to the protesters, and that's not good either.
So if you are actually expecting that the opposition is going to settle for the results of the election, how will that be handled?
I don't think the opposition will settle for the results. The opposition feels that the elections, no matter how free and fair and clean, are not good enough because they can't win them. They think the entire system is rotten and it needs to be knocked down and built up anew.
Is Thaksin Shinawatra the heart of all of this anger? Is he actually calling most of the shots, do you feel like?
I don't know that Thaksin is calling most of the shots on the ground. I think the only people that really know how much Thaksin is deciding are the people that are in the cabinet and on the phone with him when he's calling. He clearly has outsized influence in his sister's government. But she is still the prime minister, and it's been clear, I think, that she has made decisions, been more cautious than he would. She's more than just a figurehead.
Right. The northern part of that area of the country and also around Bangkok have been doing pretty well. How are they feeling about the upcoming election? Economically, they've been doing well.
Yes, the North is solidly behind the government. It's inconceivable that it won't go. One, the elections will go peacefully because there is very little support for the protesters there. And two, it'll clearly go overwhelmingly to the government. There are leaders of the pro-Thaksin and Yingluck camps in the north that are getting a little worrisome in their language, saying that if the protesters want to block things, then they'll march on Bangkok and they'll use force against force. And it presents one more powder keg into this scenario.
Right. So even if the opposition were to be triumphant in this situation, what is the best case scenario for them? That the deputy prime minister steps in possibly, and then you still have the Shinawatra regime in.
Right. This only scenario that the opposition seems willing to accept is that not just Yingluck steps down, her deputy prime minister steps down, the whole cabinet. They want the entire government out, all the Putai, the ruling party MPs, out of parliament. They want to suspend democracy, set up some kind of unelected ruling council of elites and representatives of the people. But, of course, who calls the shots? The opposition leaders call the shots in setting that up. So you trade a democratic system for the very people claiming that Thaksin has outside influence, demanding all the influence themselves.
If you are in the business of making predictions, will there be a coup?
There will not. I'm fairly confident there will not be a military coup like the one we saw in 2006. That doesn't mean there won't be some kind of judicial coup or political coup with military backing. But it won't be, I don't think it'll be tanks in the streets. It won't be the military actually kicking in doors.
Gregory Poling, thank you for your time and insight.
Thank you.